Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to MRM Astro Services. And today we'll be talking about Saturn and the dusthana houses. Dusthana houses in astrology means the malefic houses, that is the 6th, 8th, and the 12th house in the natal horoscope. So, why I chose this topic of Saturn in the dusthana house is Saturn is actually does well in the malefic houses. It's not that bad as it is understood to be. So, let me put a disclaimer. This is my personal observation, and I've come to this opinion after looking at a lot of horoscopes and with all my experiments and research, seeing countless horoscopes, and however, the other aspects also need to be considered. This is just a general interpretation. And let's begin. So, to understand Saturn, how does it do in the 6th, 8th, and the 12th house, we need to understand what is the 6th house, what is the 8th house, and what is the 12th house. So, let's first talk about what is the 6th house, 8th house, and 12th house very briefly. In astrology, as it is understood, even if you just Google the 6th, 8th, and the 12th, it just says they are malefic houses. It's all about sorrow, sufferings, losses, and those sort of things. But actually, if you look at it, it's also in a way it helps you grow and overcome your suffering, because after 5th house, which is about your karma from your previous life and all the achievements and your dreams and authority, which is represented by the 5th house, you have the 6th house, that is second from the 5th. And again, if you count the 8th house, which is second from the 7th, so it basically means everything about the post your marriage, that is the secrecy, and a lot of things can be seen from the 8th house. And again, the 12th house, 11th house is manifestation, 11th house is people, 11th house is what you earn from your career and what you manifest. And so that's second to it. So obviously, the 12th house is about losses primarily. So let's begin with the 6th house. 6th house is also the house of sickness. It shows your stress levels. It basically means the intestines and your digestive tract, and the aspect of good health, is deeply connected with the idea of self improvement. So one disease or the other can actually disturb the entire life cycle and actually impede the progress in our lives. So the 6th house is more about it's about your health, it's about your stress levels. It's also called the Shatru Bhav, which means enemies, and it's also the house which tests you how to adapt and adjust, and it also helps you. It's a house of competition also. So and it also, in a spiritual way, it helps you let go of other people's wrongdoings, if you're able to, if you have the ability to adjust and let go. And it also talks about 6th house is about the relatives, employees, and pets. And it's also the house of litigation and disputes. And the 6th house also has the ability to help you. It may in a way help you to uproot your toxic habits and irrational behavior. This house also indicates that you must learn to serve people if you wish to progress in life. So 6th house is basically, during the times where we are in, if you have to win a competition, if you have to have a good, strong health, you need to have a strong 6th house. Now, what is the eighth house? The eighth house is basically, it's another second dusthana, that is, it's also sthana of moksha, the second, that is. And what does it represent? It represents your reproductive system, but it represents your private parts. It is a house of transformation, and how you transcend sudden ups and downs, your in-laws, and it denotes things that are beyond your control, and it's like a house which will tame you and master you. You need to master your deep-seated fears, anxieties, mental weakness, and depression. Everything is associated with the eighth house, and this house helps us drive to delve into a deep ourselves, and it enables us to discover our true selves and explore the life to the fullest, because it's also the house of fears, deep-rooted fears, and it's also about interactions, relationships, your secrets, rituals, and this house in a way teaches us to clear off toxicity and get rid of meaningless relationships and embrace change. So, as I told you, it's about transformation and how you transcend in life. So, now let's look at the 12th house. What does it mean? The 12th house is also called the house of losses, or Vyaya Bhava, which means losses in Sanskrit. And it's a house of moksha also. It's a third house of moksha. And the 11th house, that is the house before the 12th house, it's a house of growth, ambitions, aspirations, manifestations. And being placed after the 11th house, the 12th house is all about transcending these aspirations and going beyond your common objectives in life. The 12th house is all about entering the secret realms of dreams and deciphering higher powers. So, this house is connected with solitude, secrets, silent sufferings, and Jupiter and Ketu are the natural rulers of the 12th house. And it helps us, to discover the true purpose of our lives. So, relationships, money, fame, and success are all temporary. The nature of the 12th house emphasizes the temporality of these things, and it's basically, to attain moksha. That's the general understanding. And the 12th house also rules your left eye. It also indicates the accuracy of placing humanity or humanitarian goals over your personal and selfish needs. So basically, all the three houses which I spoke about, it's not only about, like, in the sense, like, a strong sixth house will give you a great a body, fitness, life without debts, good health, and it is also about giving. So sixth house has 6, 8, and 12. There are so many things which are misunderstood, and eighth house is not only about sudden things or the sufferings or the longevity. It's also about the gains also, because placed opposite to the second house of wealth, if you don't have a strong eighth house, you'll never reach a state where you have a lot of wealth. And the 12th house, again, it's not only about moksha, it is also the house of bed pleasures also. So these three houses are the most misunderstood and complicated houses. So as I started this video, it's very important to understand what happens when Saturn is in the 6th, 8th, or the 12th. So let's begin with the 6th house. You can see I've taken an Aries ascendant, where the sixth house is the natural sixth house of Virgo. And suppose you have Saturn in your sixth house, irrespective of the sign, Saturn does well. Now, usually, you see a lot of astrologers talking about Saturn in the sixth house. It's a second Upachaya house after the third house. They say it does well in the sixth house. But I'm talking about 6, 8, and 12, all the three houses. And Saturn does extremely well in the 6th, 8th, and 12th, because sitting in the sixth house, which is the first malefic sign, it aspects the 12th house, it aspects the 8th house, and it aspects the third house. So these are all the malefic houses placed in the sixth house. So now let's talk about the sixth house. As we've spoken about the sixth house, it's also the house of losses. It's a house of health, strong health, competition. So whenever you have a malefic placed in the sixth house, the stronger the sixth house, the better it is. So if you have a strong Saturn sitting in the sixth house, or the eighth house, or the 12th house, it means it wherever the Saturn sits, it actually destroys the house, right? So if you have a malefic sitting in a malefic house, it will actually destroy that house. In the sense, it will reduce the negative aspects of that particular house and increase the positive aspect of that particular malefic. So Saturn actually holds the natural significator. It is a natural significator of 6th, 8th, and 12th, because they are the houses of sorrow and sufferings, as I told you earlier. So which means whenever Saturn, for example, if the dusthana planet, that is the Saturn, which is a malefic planet, is sitting in a malefic house, which is connected to losses, responsibility, karma, foreign elements, etc. and etc. It actually means it does well, because it destroys those houses, or the negative. It takes out the negative part of it. Suppose, let's assume Saturn sitting in the first house. It's debilitated, so it destroys the first house, and it delays wherever Saturn sits. It delays that particular house. So yeah. So basically, when you look at the 8th house again, the 8th house is about longevity. So Saturn delays the process, so it gives you a long life, and also it takes out the negative things from the malefic house. So the stronger the malefic house, and the placement of Saturn in that particular house will actually is a good thing. So placed in the 8th house, it prolongs your life. It'll give you a long life, and it'll, after a lot of hard work, after a lot of after a lot of hard work, you get success. So strong 8th house usually shows the ability to attain a good amount of inheritance, because 8th house is also about inheritance. And so that's about the 8th house. And looking at the 12th house, we have discussed what the 12th house means. So a strong 12th house usually shows success and attaining wealth in the foreign land, because 12th house is also about foreign land. So whenever you have a malefic like Saturn sitting in the 6th, 8th, and 12th, and it's even better if it's Saturn's own house or exalted house. Saturn's own houses are Capricorn and Aquarius, and its exalted house is Libra. And if it is either your 6th, 8th, or 12th, please be rest assured that it's going to do well. So Saturn as a malefic is not that malefic. That is what I've understood from my experiments and research. And you can look at your horoscopes too. If you find Saturn in the 6th, 8th, or 12th, you will definitely enjoy, you know, lesser malefic, um, lesser malefic. You can expect lesser malefic things to happen in your life related to the 6th, 8th, or 12th. And so it does well. So Saturn in the 6th, 8th, and 12th does really well. And for detailed reading, you can reach out to me. But you can just look at your horoscope and find where your Saturn is. You can use any platform to get your horoscope if you know your date of birth and time of birth and place of birth. And so yeah, so I hope I've explained things well. And if you like the content, please like and subscribe our channel, and please leave your comments in the comment section. Thank you so much.